Hello, I'm Kim, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and the stuff they're sharing around the world on NewsFeed today. We'll tell you why the so-called father of the web wants media giants divided and conquered.
Something found. Hi!
You get a car, you get a car, you get a home visit from Oprah? From boats to bags, how a German company is helping refugees. And a ghostly animals doing stuff to round out Halloween week. Now, money and power are technically nothing more than an agreement between humans, guided by nothing more than the collective story we tell ourselves. But what happens when that story gives all the power to one group? A group that has no rules other than the ones they set for themselves. This is not some dystopian future. This, according to the creator of the World Wide Web, is exactly what we have today because of what his baby, the internet, has spawned. Take a look at this.
The Cambridge Analytica debacle, I think, for a lot of people was a tipping point when they realised that the web isn't just a place where more and more truth will out, but in fact lots and lots of fake stuff will out. And it's not just outing, but it's not just bubbling to the surface, it's being very carefully nurtured by malevolent forces. The feeling of individual empowerment. Yep. And to a certain extent, also I think the optimism is cracked. So, through history, I don't think we've really seen, there's no really alternative to antitrust people coming in and breaking things up.
Okay, let's have a look now at some other things that caught our eye on social media. A TV host in Australia who apparently has no idea what era or perhaps even what planet he's living on has been fired for going on a racist rant. Ross Cameron was hosting a panel discussion on Sky News. It's not the first time he's made racist comments on air, but this is what got him booted from the network.
If you go to the Disneyland in Shanghai on any typical morning of the week, you'll see 20,000 black-haired, slanty-eyed, yellow-skinned Chinese desperate to get in.
Google workers around the world have walked out of work, demanding an end to a culture of sexual harassment and gender-based discrimination at the company. Thousands of employees, men and women around the world, took part in the protest. It was organised after a New York Times investigation reported on huge payouts for accused executives. Now, Oprah may be a network-owning, TV-hosting, author, actress and all-round media mogul. She still has time for the cause she cares about most, which is why she went door-knocking in Georgia. Look at that. Oprah was canvassing support for Democratic nominee Stacey Abrams, encouraging voters to go to the polls for the midterms on November 6th. Now, I would say, all things considered, this woman here was pretty chill about the whole thing. A new report from Human Rights Watch has given a rare and disturbing insight into the plight of women living in North Korea. The secretive state offers impunity to men in power, meaning women are routinely subjected to sexual assault and harassment from all corners of society.
한번 마음 주는 건 해강강부에 한번 한강부에 뭐 시계 내는 거지. 할 수 없단 말이야 그렇게.
젊은이들을 이렇게 성폭행하려고 할 때 난 너를 뭐 폭행한다 막 이런 말도 없이 다짜고짜 자기가 바지를 벗더라고요. 내가 어디론가 피할 데가 없고 뛸 곳이 없는 거예요. 이 상황을 피하면 내한테 또 어떤 죄가 어떻게 돌아올까 하는 생각도 좀 많이 해봤고 그러다 보니까 그냥 당하고 좀 말하는 것 같아요.
사실 북한 내에서 성추행 정도는 거의 모든 여성들이 다 당했던 일이었어요. 근데 이 여성들이 북한 내에서는 그것이 성추행인지를 몰랐다는 거예요.
Now, what is perhaps most remarkable is that this system of sexual violence and abuse is so entrenched that victims often don't even realize that they're victims, but think rather that what's happening to them reflects a choice that they must make as a more normal part of North Korean life.
It started as a peace project. The European Union was designed to bring a group of nation-states together for the betterment of all. But with the rise of the far right, an increase in anti-immigrant sentiment and the impending Brexit, 60 years after it was formed, is the EU still serving its purpose?
It's the world's second biggest economy by GDP, a recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize, and home to more than 500 million people. But the European Union may be facing some tough times ahead. The United Kingdom, one of the oldest member states, is on its way out. Far-right parties with Eurosceptic sentiment are growing. Countries are yet to find a common ground on how to deal with the influx of refugees. And the economy seems to be on the verge of a crisis. So, can the Union overcome the challenges? Or is this the end of the European project?
I wouldn't say it's the end of the European project. I mean, the European project has been going on for over 60 years now, and it's been morphing and changing along with the crisis. What's different this time, I think, is that the size of the crisis and the fact that many countries are affected.
Well, I certainly hope that this is the beginning of the end of the European Union. After all, this is a body that really isn't fit for purpose. The idea of having a monolithic, undemocratic, Soviet Union-style European Union is something that I think most people are deeply concerned about.
The European Union is today a type of border. That means I think that nations and states should decide whether the European Union will really serve as it was meant at the very beginning, as important peace project and framework for cooperation between states and nations.
The EU consists of three bodies responsible for making policy and taking decisions. The European Parliament is a directly elected legislative body, which works with the Council of the European Union to amend and adopt EU legislation proposed by the European Commission. Since the EU doesn't have a government, the European Commission is the closest body that functions like one. It also represents the EU internationally. The Commission is made up of 28 members, one from each country. They aren't elected but appointed, which has been subject to criticism. Apart from that, turnouts at the parliamentary elections have sparked criticism. In 2014, turnout was reportedly the lowest ever, totaling 42.61%.
It's run by an unelected group of individuals who we can't throw out, and that is not good.
The most important thing for the European Union, it is the ability of a small number of people to rule over the masses without being elected.
We have the European Parliament, and this is getting more and more power inside the institution of the European Union. It's the Council of Europe that makes all the big decisions, so it's nation states that actually discuss around the table. There are still room for improvement, but surely the Parliament is key to making European institutions more democratic.
For decades, the EU has been promoting democratic values, but this may be under threat with the far right on the rise. Political parties now represented in their national parliament have been accused of spreading anti-immigrant sentiment, xenophobia, and Islamophobia.
Everyone who discriminated the other on religious or national ethnical basis should be punished by the law. And in all legislations we have appropriate offense, but it's never practiced properly.
The migration has been one extremely important source of our European identity. It has never clashed with that European identity. Our European identity is actually based on a number of the resources, and migration is one of them.
In most of European countries, people fear that globalization was not working for them, and they want to go back to a world where frontiers, customs, and nations are next together, but do not try to work together as neighbors.
Political skepticism apart, citizens from 25 out of the 28 countries think EU membership has paid off. But many believe that reform is needed, and it should begin with making EU institutions more democratic.
Well, let's go around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Friday. Police in China have retrieved black box footage showing the moment a bus crashed, killing 15 people on board. A woman can be seen hitting the driver, who turns to hit her back before losing control of the wheel, sending the bus plunging into a river. Russia's space agency has released video of this month's failed Soyuz rocket launch. It shows the moment the crew capsule blasted away from the damaged launcher, sending the two-man crew back down to Earth. Incredibly, no one was hurt. And in a sign of just how important emojis are becoming to our way of communicating online, Dallas-Fort Worth Airport has asked Unicode, which makes emojis, to make the plane landing emoji a little less, quote, crashy. They tweeted, loving the new emojis, but on behalf of #Airport Twitter and pilots everywhere would kindly request a re-angling. Now to the story of two enterprising women in Germany who are upcycling waste from Europe's refugee crisis to help those who made the dangerous journey across the Mediterranean. Here's Akanksha.
In 2015, friends Vera and Nora traveled to Greece as volunteers, helping the thousands of people arriving there by boat at the height of the refugee crisis. While clearing the beaches of abandoned rubber dinghies, they had an idea.
So we have the raw material, it is the broken refugee rubber boat that we then turn into bags and backpacks like these ones.
Their company Mimicry is sustainable, ethical, environmentally friendly, and non-profit. It even employs some of the refugees the two women helped save.
The people who arrive at the shores of Europe, which is people like me and you, are people with talents, with jobs that they had in their home country. So we wanted to do something that shows this. And we thought that working together with those people, showing their talents would be the best way to do that.
Whenever I see a dinghy brought in with lots of dirt and mud on it, that scene takes me back to that journey I made. I get a flashback. The whole scene starts playing back in my head. But then I start feeling good about how Mimicry has helped me. They gave me work here. I tailor these dinghies into bags. I do feel good about that, but I'm constantly reminded of the past. When that happens, sometimes I get really sad.
The response to the products has been positive.
This is one of our most popular products. It's the Mimicry backpack. It fits 30 liters. We don't really think the world needs more bags than backpacks. For us, this is a symbol. This material that was understood as waste, and that has this story of courage and hope, to turn this into something new. And by doing that, showing that even within difficult situations, we can find something positive. And finally, we here on NewsFeed love the Animals Doing Stuff segment, and seeing as it's just gone Halloween, we thought we'd combine the two. I present my case for having a pet squirrel, or squirrel if you're American. This little guy got into the spooky spirit with a Halloween dance, all captured on camera by some astute watchers-on. It's been viewed 1.3 million times in just 24 hours. He's one Halloween, and also my heart.